Welcome, esteemed guests, to another video. As many of you may know by now, I have a webcomic. And if you don't know that, you're probably new, because I talk about it in literally 40% of my videos. So I don't know what to tell you. Something I do know what to tell you is that comics usually come with characters. Sometimes. But we're getting off topic. The important part is that my comic has characters, and I have made character sheets for them. And now that I have the grand total of 4 characters introduced in my story's prologue, I can talk about their character sheets and my process for making their character designs. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Of course, we had to start with the protagonist, Lila Horgil. And yes, this will be a speed paint type of video because I didn't think about making this a video, so I did not record myself drawing any of these. Lila is the first character I made a reference sheet for, but not for the reasons you might expect. I actually started this webcomic without any reference sheets. I was drawing the characters from memory and from the various drawings I had of them in my sketchbook. I only changed that around episode 5, One of Many Truths Part 1. Mostly because I noticed that my art style was evolving into something a little bit more detailed than how I was drawing before. Her hair used to be really simplified, like you could draw a cloud and it would look like her hair. And I realized that it wasn't working anymore, so I decided to make this reference sheet mostly to change her hair, but then I started thinking about some other stuff I could change. And, well, we're here now. Another thing I wanted to change was her facial structure, so she looks a little bit older. I was mostly solidifying aspects of her design and personality I didn't have the opportunity to show off yet, so I don't forget they exist. Like the little sketches meant to symbolize the way she acts in public versus the way she acts in private, because she is a public figure and she doesn't really like that. She's actually a huge introvert and doesn't like interacting with people that much, especially people she doesn't know or especially the people she doesn't like. And sadly, being one of the most famous heroes in the city, she kinda has to do that every day. So not a huge fan of that. Is there any other reason as to why she's specifically bitter about being a public figure? Don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Next up is the criminal Neil or Carter. He doesn't care what name you use as long as you don't use both of the names at the same time because that's just way too formal. Carter was introduced in the first episode along with Lila, which meant I followed the same logic of drawing him from memory and the drawings in my sketchbook, which also resulted in an extremely simple design. And putting his old design next to an upgraded Lila? We can't have that, he would look like a side character. So I jumped in and gave him a glow up as well. Honestly, I am very glad that I decided to do this while still on the prologue because there is still going to be so many characters to be introduced, and redesigning all of them in one go, I did not want to imagine what that would be like. But anyways, Carter. My only objective with redesigning Carter was to give him more detail, basically. I tried throwing around more of the blue accents in his design, in a way that looks way more like lightning bolts, just like the one in his hair. I was really inspired by like 80s fashion with the slightly shoulder pad looking things. I don't know, I wanted a strong silhouette for him. I haven't spoken a lot about his personality while the speed paint plays, but let it be known that it's a subversion of expectations, so I'm waiting for the episode where we actually get to see him speak outside of fights. It's coming very soon, don't worry. Especially now that I'm trying to upload weekly. I am trying to update the comic every Friday, and I've managed to go through with 2 weeks without missing a beat, and that is because I started 2 weeks ago, okay? What can I talk about this one without literally spoiling the whole endgame of the comic? First of all, she's not supposed to have a name, but for my sake and for you guys' sake, you can just call her Rabbit or the Rabbit. You can use redacted if you want as well, but like, that sounds kinda weird in a sentence. you can't just glitch out your own voice to talk about her, as much as that would be really cool. She also entered this mass redesigning thing because of a single drawing that I made of her for the Webtoon Canvas Inktober event, where I changed the color of her eyes a little bit so they're more saturated and they pop out more, and I realized that actually looks very good. So I just kinda threw that on her original design. Not really much to talk about her for now, that's it. Finally, we can throw all the angst out of the way and talk about someone who's actually not involved in anything shady. This is Lola, the optimistic doctor currently studying to specialize in taking care of injuries and symptoms caused by superpowers. She's Lila's best friend and a huge extrovert. She is actually one of my newer characters, so I haven't drawn her as much as the rest of the cast. And I think you can realize that by the way I drew her hair in the full body. I didn't have a lot of practice with this kind of hair type by the first time I drew her, so I actually stopped working on this character sheet, went back, doodled her a couple times, took a couple days off, and then I went back with this sketch, which is way better than the other one, and I actually managed to practice enough to make her look good in her debut episode, hopefully. She purposefully has less detail since she's supposed to be a normal civilian, but you'll see her a couple times in the story, and little spoiler, she will become very important by the end. Also, no, I'm not working with anyone else on this project, I'm the only one working on this comic. The little note about using the sketch as a hair reference is for my Artfight account, which you can find in my link tree in the description, wink wink nudge nudge. Like, how many months are we away from Artfight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 5 months away! That's basically tomorrow, I mean. Hey, thanks for staying until the end. I hope you liked the video. I've been working on a new end screen so I can share fan art I received from you guys, which is insane. And I am so sorry for taking so long to share some of this fan art. I thought this video would come out way sooner, I promise you. And until we meet again,